Good evening and welcome to Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show, a show dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So it's Tuesday night, so usually I'm doing either metal or what's new. So we did metal last week. This week we're doing what's new. Bit of an unusual situation. I had somebody from this band actually contact me and ask me if I would do the review for it, which I'm more than happy to do. I listened to a couple of their tracks. Sounds really good, and I've now listened to the entire album. I really like it. So anyways, we're talking about, the band that we're talking about here is The Fierce and the Dead, and their album is News from the Invisible World. Released on July 28, 2023. Recorded at Echo Zoo Studios, The Danger Room, not the one from the X-Men, The Crow's Nest, Strong Room Studio, The White Room, and of course various pieces done at people's homes as well. It's about 42 minutes in length. It's on Spencer Park Music, and the engineer or the producer of the album is Kevin Feasey. He's also the bass player and the vocalist for the band. Okay, so the band, it features Matt Stevens. He was the one that contacted me. He plays guitar, synthesizer, and keyboards, as well as does some programming for the album as well. Steve Clayton, he's the other guitar player and synthesizer player, also doing programming as well. I think all four of them actually do programming on this album. Kevin Feasey is bass and vocals, so he's the vocalist for the band. And Stuart Marshall is the drummer who also plays percussion for this band. So my overall impressions of the album, I listened to it in its entirety. There's a lot of variations or variety to their music. They're not just a one-dimensional band. They do have some bordering close to heavy metal sounds, but definitely they have their softer and progginess to their music as well. And they like to mix up the sounds during each song as well. So you might get songs that start out kind of heavy, have a little bit of an interlude, go back to that heaviness, or go on to something different. So they're a good listen. Their stuff is very catchy, I find. Lots of heavy guitar riffing on this album, lots of catchiness to it. The rhythm section in this band is very strong. For me, that's important because otherwise, if the rhythm section isn't particularly strong, and if it tends to be a little bit proggy, or it's a bit of one of these kind of jammy things. With a jammy thing, if they don't have a rhythm section, it becomes too jammy. And if it's a prog type music and it doesn't have a good rhythm section, it ends up becoming jazz fusion, and then I lose a bit of an interest that way. So they don't have that problem. Very strong rhythm section. I like the lyrics to their songs, very catchy, and the piano and the keyboard parts dominate a lot of points during the album as well. So they do have, I believe, 10 tracks, if I'm correct. Maybe I'm not correct. We will look. Yes. No, I'm sorry. There's only 8 tracks. I've been reviewing so many albums, sometimes I forget how many tracks are what. So they have basically, because it's in the CD age, it's not the old vinyl age where you have one side and a B side. This is all on one particular CD. Strong album, I think. The opening track, which is called Start, it's melodic instrumentals on this, a lot of it. The vocals have a hint of a Bowie sound to them at points. I hear a little bit of it there. Not enough that people would say, hey, that's Bowie. That's not it. It's just his range is in that same range. The song builds as it reaches up, like as it moves on through the song, it builds to almost a climactic heavy guitar part, heavy guitar riffs, strong vocals on this song. The next song up is Shake the Jar. I like this. It's one of my favorite tracks on the album, and there's like 3 or 4 of them that I gave pretty strong ratings to, but I like this one a lot. Lots of heavy guitar parts, catchy riff at the beginning of this song. The vocals are a bit strong, but not Not in that metal rock raunchy sound that you get when people's voice starts to break or starts to get gravelly. There's none of that here. He's just straight, strong voice. There's a nice bit of an organ part in this song that I like. The bass is heavy in parts, and then the drums come in as support. And that part is the part I like the best about this song. Is really strong bass part. And it kind of fades. The song kind of fades a little bit as it's going along. Keyboards and synthesizers slowly going down, and then it explodes back into that main beat that you get towards the beginning of the song, where it's really heavy. And that I liked. It was I didn't see it coming. It was well done. Golden Thread, which is one of the longer songs on the album. It's got this heavy, kind of catchy riff in the opening to get it underway, and then there's this interlude which kind of changes the direction of the song a bit, and then it becomes more melodic and heavy again as it gets back to that riff. Use the keyboards is strong, melodic, very strong here. It's a ground song. I like this song a lot. It's one of the better tracks on the album as well. So the back part of the album, the back 5 tracks on the album are good and solid. There's no real duds on this album. I don't find there was no point where I said, why would they do that? That's not really good. I never felt that at any point in the album. So the next track out, Photogenic Love. This is a bit more of a subdued. It's a bit more poppy than some of the other tracks on the album, but it has a catchy beat. But then you get these heavy guitar parts that come in, kind of giving the song a bit of an interlude. The lyrics are quite good on this track as well. And then it gets heavier towards the end of the song. So yeah, not a bad tune. Wonderful is the next tune out. Heavy bass opening, which is really catchy, and then the drums come in and add that strength. That is one of their strengths, is their rhythm section. There is this kind of Spartan piano or keyboard part, and I haven't really been able to determine if it's piano or keyboards. If it's piano, it's probably been fed a bit through the synthesizers to give it a more atmospheric feel. And I could be wrong about that, but that's the sense that I get, that's what it probably is. And then again, another really catchy, heavy guitar riffing. The collective vocals on this are really good too. So when they do their kind of harmonies, if you want to call them, or backing vocals, it's really quite strong. The next song out is Non-Player. This is probably my favorite track on the album. Opens with a very keyboard synthesizer opening with some rhythmic drums to it. The vocals are a bit more subdued on this, but not bad. The song has some nice acoustic guitar on it as well, parts, and I think there's some keyboards mixed in with that. The very heavy guitar parts though at times, and then it fades out and returns to that melody towards the end of the song. And I was taken by surprise by this, but there was actually a sax part that was really tastefully done in a solo. So the guy did a bit of a solo with it. I'm sure it was a saxophone. That's what it sounded like. I don't see any notes for whether it somebody playing it. They may have had somebody come in and play it for them, or maybe one of them played it with the synthesizer. I'm not sure what it was, but it was really well done. The next track up was What a Time to Be Alive. This is a 5-minute song. Heavy guitar riff to open. I like the piano and the bass part here, which follows. It's really catchy. The combined heaviness of the song is catchy as hell. The sounds of the bass are really good on this particular track. And yeah, so overall, the synthesizer does add a little bit of a kind of atmospheric to keep it sounding full, I think, is basically what I'm trying to say. This is another good track. And then you come to the last track, which is a little bit of a more of a subdued track. The best part about this particular track is that the vocals are clear. That was my only issue with the album, is I found some of the vocals a bit murky, and I wasn't sure if it's because his voice wasn't that good, but then on this track he clearly has a much better sound to his vocals, and his voice is really quite good. I wish he was a little more clear on some of the other tracks, but overall I wouldn't say that. I don't want to give the impression that the vocals on the other tracks were bad. They were not bad at all. A little bit murkier, not as clear sounding. That's basically the only way I can describe it. But overall, I found it to be a strong album. I think it's an album that I could easily own. I wouldn't have a problem getting this album. It's strong. If you like lots of heavy riffing, lots of heavy guitar, with interludes of keyboards and stuff on it, almost like what do they call it, symphonic kind of metal, but this isn't metal. It's more of a hard rock, so it'll be symphonic hard rock, maybe might be a better way to put it. If you like that kind of sound, you will like this album. You're not going to get a ton of guitar soloing on this album. So if you're one of those people like lots of guitar solos and jamming and all that stuff, you're not going to find that here. But if you like really well crafted songs with lots of heavy guitar sounds, really catchy heavy guitar sounds, you're going to like this album a lot. So that's my review for the Fierce and the Dead and their album News from the Invisible World. I think it's a good album, one well worth checking out. I know a lot of people don't really collect CDs or vinyl anymore. Well, more vinyl. People don't collect CDs anymore, so a lot of this stuff can be bought or downloaded off the internet if you want it. I think you won't be disappointed if you like what I said. You will like this album quite a bit. Really catchy stuff. Deserves to get more attention, and I hope I gave it some today. I really want it to kind of promote it a bit because I think it is a good album. So please, if you like this video, please like and subscribe. It's much appreciated. You can leave any comments about this album if you've heard it in the comments below, or if you got any questions about it, let me know and I'll see what I can do to help you with that. So anyways, you have yourself a good night, and we will see you again next week on Metal. Take care. Bye.